how much of what you do as a leader are you supplying any of the talking points, value prop statements, the typical problems that a prospect that you're reaching out to might have? How much of you as a leader in a leadership team are supplying those talking points to the rep?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's part of being a leader in sales development is, you know, opening, right? A lot of times now Teddy has a lot of experience, in sales and recruitment. But in a lot of scenarios, like you're working with, people who have never done this before, right? Before they've joined your team, they've never made a phone call, they've never been in sales before. Um, so I think like a lot of what we do in, our team meetings and team calls is like talk about, those opportunities or those talking points, the pain points that, we can help solve for businesses. So I guess to circle back to, you know, your question, like Zoom Info SDR specifically, they're getting suggestions, on the pain points and the triggers that they should be calling on in a number of areas. We're fortunate enough to have an enablement team that says, hey, they might provide us data like, hey, these are the top industries that, we're performing in. Like you should focus your time here. And then,
Yeah.
tying those pain points back to how we can help those companies. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of what your job is as an SDR manager or SDR leader is every single person on your team is a little bit different. So like the permission based opener might work great for Teddy, but it might not work that well, for another person on the team. And as a leader, like your job is to figure out, okay, how can I, work with every individual on my team because no one's the same and play into what they're really good at. And that's how you're going to build a really high performing team. But then how can you focus these team training calls and enablement sessions on, okay, Teddy's really good at this, Jack's really good at that, Jason's really good at this. If I keep, my enablement sessions talking more about pain points, action handling, triggers, as opposed to scripts, everyone's, abilities are going to be lifted a little bit as opposed to, running a training session and saying, hey, this is a talk track. And then, half the team walking away and saying, well, I don't really, use that or I don't call those types of companies. So this isn't relevant for me. And now you've wasted 30 minutes of your,
Yeah.
couple of your SDR's day.
Another way that I love that, another way that I kind of am conceptualizing everything that you guys are talking about is I like to think of like how, what, why. How, the most extreme version of how is giving someone a script and just saying, you have to say this. An example of what is, hey, in our intro, what we are trying to accomplish is breaking through, getting the prospect's attention, and saying something relevant that's going to perk their ears. And then the why, like really explaining, hey, most cold calls that reps or that prospects get from reps, they go straight into pitching their solution. They don't do any kind of permission based opener. They're immediately selling something. They don't check to see if there's pain, et cetera, et cetera. I think incorporating all of those elements is so important for a framework where you're not just giving a bunch of how to, you're giving context around the what and the stages, and then also the why behind stuff so that a rep, when you're looking at it, you can use your own, like you can be resourceful in thinking about how you could do something that fits into the why and the what and figuring out your own how.